ultimately, the discussion of let's turn this into a business kind of came along. And Carl and I were about the same age. Carl didn't plan for retirement, and I didn't either. So This is retirement.
Welcome back to TapThatAZ. I'm your host, Eric Walters. In this episode, we're going to travel over to Mesquite River Brewing in Scottsdale and hang out with Carl and Fred. But before we get into that, have you guys heard of the the Arizona Pure Water Brew Challenge? So this is pretty awesome. Basically what it is reclaimed, recycled wastewater, and 26 breweries across the state competed to see which brewery could make the best beer out of this. So pretty awesome thing that they're doing. I mean, Arizona, we're in a desert, so I think we're on limited resources here. So we got to be figuring out something to do about our water supply, right? I always was. I'm like, where does this water come from? I don't know. I know now, but when I moved out here, it was a mystery to me. So either way, water is not a limitless resource. So what these guys are doing to purify this water is pretty amazing. So a lot of the breweries even said that the water that they received for this competition was the cleanest water that they've ever worked with. So basically what happened was I reached out to them and said, hey, to this organization that's running this thing, and said, hey, I'd love to do a podcast episode with you guys about this. This is really awesome. So we've been trying to work out the logistics of it, trying to get things set up. But they reached out to me last week and said, hey, do you want to come be a guest judge for the competition? I was like, hell yeah. Like, how could I turn that down, right? So this past Saturday, traveled down to Tucson, and I was a little nervous. I was like, I'm going to taste 23 beers. I don't know, I need to find an Uber driver or somewhere to stay, right? So basically what happened, we got there, and I was matched up with a certified beer judge. Right, so I was a little nervous about that. I'm like, I don't want to be the deciding factor on this thing, right? These guys work their ass off to make these beers, and I'm some amateur coming in. But so they matched me up with a certified beer judge, Ray. Ray was awesome. So I didn't try 23 beers. 26 breweries entered, but for some reason there was 23 beers. So I don't know if a few didn't submit their submissions, but I had 3. So we tasted 3 beers out of the 23 for the competition. So it was actually really cool because we chose the category that ended up so we had to choose one of the 3 that we thought were the best from that category. It was the Czech style. So we chose a Pilsner. It was a really, really good Pilsner. And come to find out, the winners were just announced this evening. This is Sunday, so by the time you're listening to it, it'll be Monday or whenever you listen to it. But they announced the winner, and it was Dragoon. Dragoon won with their Clearwater Pilsner. This Pilsner was awesome, so I felt kind of cool that I was the judge, the guest judge, to advance that beer in the judging. When it came down to best in show, when it came down to what really mattered, they really left it up to the certified judges, but it was pretty cool. So congratulations to Dragoon for winning that, and congratulations to Arizona Wilderness for their AZ Pure Water Double IPA, which got runner-up, which was fantastic as well. That was actually the only one that I had at the actual brewery itself before this competition, or before the judging. But congratulations to all the breweries that participated. Such a great cause. So go check it out if you get a chance. azpurewaterbrew.org, and you'll see the Brew Challenge link in there. But anyways, let's get into this episode. Mesquite River Brewing. Enjoy the show. All right, I'm at Mesquite River Brewing Company. We're on the southwest corner of Scottsdale Road and Thunderbird. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Pretty accurate?
Yep.
And these days you can just get on your phone and find it pretty easily.
A lot of people find us by Google.
We're behind, the trees that you can't see.
Behind the trees, we're hidden a little bit. Yeah, we'll look for the orange sign, MRB. I like that sign, by the way.
Thanks.
That's really cool. I like the style and the logo. But I'm with Fred and Carl. Guys, thanks for joining me.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. So where do we begin? Like, where did you guys say we want to make beer?
Well, I think Carl's kind of been wanting to do a brewery for forever.
Okay.
I wouldn't say forever.
Well,
maybe let me start out. So that I'll start out, I guess, because I'm the one that started brewing. I lived in Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
Started my family there and everything. Grew up in Eugene, and During the 80s, early 90s, the craft beer boom in Portland was just phenomenal. And what these guys had to go through to get breweries going, it just was amazing.
Yeah.
You know, look back on it, read stories about Windmere, Bridgeport. All these guys had to struggle and stuff to get their product out there and developed and stuff. And to me, it was like this revolution that just, I didn't even really grasp it at the time until I moved down here in '94.
Okay.
And started trying to find craft breweries.
Yeah.
And where I lived, they were so far away. And I'm like, Tempe had one. I think there's one in Scottsdale. And I'm like, wow, it's just too far to go to get a beer and everything and take my family over there and stuff. Up in Portland, I was, a mile and a half down the road, and I'm at McMinimum's.
Okay. Yeah.
And they, family friendly and stuff and all that. So it's a great experience.
Yeah.
Get here, no places carry bottles of craft beer. Not really until Papago went in.
Okay.
Did he bring in just a huge variety, but there again, just a long ways to go to get some. And at that point, I was already home brewing.
Okay.
So
this was late 90s, right?
This was mid-90s, 94.
Okay. Okay.
So my brother lived down here. He and I got together, talked about doing this home brewing thing. And I'm like, is that legal?
Moonshining,
yeah,
right?
I'm like,
yeah.
He goes, yeah, completely legal. I got this book and everything, read through it. And so I read through Charlie's book and everything. I'm like, okay, I kind of get this stuff. And so there's a homebrew shop over on 64th Street and Bell Road.
Okay.
And so we went there. They had a class and everything, but all they did was talk about it. No real demonstration. I'm like, okay, this makes sense with what the book's saying and stuff, but I'm still having a hard time grasping the whole thing. One day I'm driving down Cave Creek Road, where it's close to where I live, south of Bell Road, and I see this homebrew shop. Do a U-turn, pull in there, walk in the guy's shop, looking around, and the guy asked me, says, so what's up? And I says, well, my brother and I are looking at getting into homebrewing. He goes, okay. He says, what knowledge do you have? I said, none, just read the book and everything. He said, but need to get a kit and everything. And he goes, tell you what, he says, before you buy a kit, he says, I want you to come here Saturday if you're available. He says, I'm doing a batch, intermediate batch, because I want you to see that before you make a decision on, what level you want to start out at.
Right, okay, nice.
And so I'm like, sure, I'll come in. So the gentleman's name is Paul Gunn. And so I go in there, real friendly guy and stuff. It's like, I think there's 5 of us there with his brew out and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
Picked it up like that. I'm like, awesome.
Nice. You had all this book knowledge, right? You had all the book knowledge.
Yeah,
but
it just doesn't register with me until I actually saw it visually being done.
Yeah, right. Okay.
And so then it all just like flowed in. I was like, oh, this is very easy.
Yeah.
So right then and there, I told him, I says, I just want to go ahead and start doing the intermediate. I don't want to go out there and have a kit where I'm using somebody else's recipe. I like to cook. I like to mix things up and everything. So let me just, do the extract, specialty grains. He goes, so what do you want to do? I says, I want to do a porter. And so he got all the stuff together for a porter, first batch porter. Fantastic. Next batch, an English IPA. Fabulous. And then from there, I just started doing all different styles and seeing what I would like to do, or ones I like and ones that I like to continue to do. But all along the way, I always had developed my own recipes. I would just take from different clones and say, I'll pull from there, and this looks like this would go in here pretty well. And even sometimes over the years, I would be reading articles or something, well, this hop won't blend well with this and stuff. I'm like, really? I'm going to give it a shot anyways. Throw it in there, just see what it does.
Yeah.
Because that's part of the craft beer experience, is taking that risk and challenge that if you make it like crap, you can find somebody that's going to drink free beer, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah.
And so that's how it kind of started out for me. And then along the way, Fred's my neighbor. He came up to me and, So I'll let him chime in on his part.
I couldn't have said that.
Yeah.
What Carl just said. There's no way.
Okay, yeah.
Anyway, he just wanted to brew for a long time.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I moved here from the Bay Area in 2000, next door to Carl.
Okay.
A couple of years, got to know him. Was at my brother-in-law's up in Flagstaff. He had a brewing kit. He says, I'm not going to use this thing. Just take it.
Yeah.
So I took it home. I had a 12-pack of Moosehead in my refrigerator, and it will sit there for 3 months.
Right.
So I'm like, let me try this, and I knew Carl did home brewing, so I took the kit, went over to Carl, said, what do I need? What's missing out of this? I'd like to do
Out of the Moosehead.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So let's start with this in the garbage. Nah, Moosehead's not bad. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was okay.
Yeah.
There's better though,
Yeah.
or there's other. So to Carl, what do I need? He gave me a shopping list. Went over to Chuck's What Ails You.
Okay.
Over on Bell and 64th Street.
Yeah.
Avenue, and got all the ingredients. He helped me brew, and right at that point, the beer I really liked was the Young's Double Chocolate Stout.
Okay.
So my first batch ever brewed was a stout, trying to clone
The Youngs.
the Youngs.
Gotcha.
It actually
Okay.
came out pretty good.
Nice.
So after that, Friday afternoons, typically we would pick a driveway, hang out, drink beer, scotch, tequila, whatever else you
Nice.
have, and just talk. Neighbors, friends would come over. Cigars,
Right,
yeah.
right. You gotta have that
Can't
in
forget the
there,
stogies. Yeah, stogie and the stout, and an hour to kill is
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah.
So we hung out. Friends would come by, and ultimately the discussion of let's turn this into a business kind of came along. And Carl and I were about the same age. Carl didn't plan for retirement, and I didn't either. So
Okay.
this is retirement.
Okay.
This is the retirement plan.
Nice.
for
Okay.
both of us. So we're on the same page as far as end goals and those kinds of
Yeah.
things.
Gotcha. Do you guys brew? Are you the brewers?
Well, for now I am.
Okay.
Fred's still working at his job and everything.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
yeah.
Okay.
So owner brewer.
Yeah. You're back there doing all the hard work.
So
I wouldn't call it hard work.
Okay.
I mean, it is work.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I can imagine some guys coming in from, maybe a desk job or something that doesn't have, the understanding of what it takes to, do this. Because I used to be a commercial residential painter.
Oh. Okay.
And in doing painting work, it's 90% prep and cleanup and 10% painting. So you're spending a lot of time with brewing, with cleaning and maintenance and just all various things where you're wanting, I just want to brew. I just want to get those malts out and get them mashed in and just smell that stuff cooking and blending those hops in. But yeah, it's not a glamorous business. I mean, it is hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to me, from my standpoint, when you're in that element, when you're working back there, it's challenging. It's always because you're dealing with so many variables that can mess up your batch.
Yeah.
Well, tell them about the very first batch we did.
I don't want to. No,
We
it's
have
not. That was just it was
Well, getting
an
used to
issue.
the systems as well.
Yeah, it is a
That's why
brand
I've
new.
heard the challenge is going from homebrew equipment to this
Yeah.
large commercial stuff.
So here you have a setup where it's brand new equipment and everything. You're thinking, okay, just plug and play, and we did a water run, test everything out, and it all seemed to work just fine. Everything worked great. Got through the mash. I'm like, oh, this is just awesome. Everything's just running fine. Move everything into the boil kettle, and that's where everything just went downhill for the first batch of beer. And what ended up happening in our control panel, because we have an electric powered boil kettle,
Okay.
or the whole system's electric powered, and we're having breaker issues. They're just getting heated up too much, and so they're tripping. But I didn't know that.
Oh,
And I'm
gotcha.
like, it's boiling, but you have to have a real vigorous boil to boil off, a certain amount of liquid and
Okay.
some compounds in there that you want to get out of. And I'm like, I'm looking at the sight glass, and it's like, it's not going anywhere. Is there an issue with the stack? Is it not venting properly? I mean, we were just racking our brain. And then eventually I open up the panel, which you're not supposed to when it's charged, because that's a lot of juice in that panel.
Okay.
And then I see some breakers tripped. I'm like, crap. So reset them. They wouldn't set. I'm like, what? Couldn't figure out how to get this thing done. So we ended up probably a good 2.5 hour boil. We had no idea. So it is essentially taking an IPA, and we decided, well, let's make an amber out of it.
So you can still salvage it.
Yeah.
Still salvage it. Well, we move it over to the fermentation room. And so in my fermentation room, because we were working on a very, very tight, limited budget on this thing, So in our fermentation room, what I had done is set it up to where I take cold air from my cold storage, and I can control the temperature in the fermentation room.
Okay.
With that, well, my cold storage cooler froze up, and come in the next day, and this room is like hot. I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on? Call up the refrigeration guy. He's like, oh, it sounds like your unit's frozen up. Just shut it off. I says, I can't shut it off. I got, beer here that's fermenting. I got to have it cooled down.
Yeah.
Well, it took them 4 days. So typically at that high temperature of fermentation in the industry, it would be very bad. You'd be dumping that batch of beer.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So my thought was, let's just run it on down the line. I had a guy in here that I was talking with that had been a brewery owner and a brewer up in Walla Walla, Washington. And he's like, heck, we had a Hefeweizen that got up to 100 degrees. And we couldn't tell the difference between the normal brewed one and the one that was fermented at 100 degrees because they had the same kind of issue.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right. He says, just run it on down the line, see how it works out. So all the way down the line, it had challenges. So I had various people come in, taste it. Do you think I should put this on tap or dump it? Tap it. And I said, all right. So
Across the board, everyone said tap it.
yeah, I didn't have anyone say dump it.
Yeah.
So we went ahead and tapped it, sold it. I had people come in, oh, this is great, this is great. And I'm like, man, I wish people were thought, no, this is average, So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I can't duplicate that.
Right.
So what I ended up doing, because it was high in alcohol, I was like, well, that's kind of high alcohol amber. Then I decided for the Strong Beer Festival, I'm just going to do an Imperial Amber. And there's really no class for an Imperial Amber, but that's part of doing craft. It's like a black IPA.
Yeah.
What kind of oxymoron, isn't it?
Right.
Pale ale, India Pale Ale, black.
Yeah.
So where's the pale ale part in there?
Right.
But no, I think it's just from that standpoint of the craft aspect of things. These guys going out there taking that challenge, risk, and saying, I'm going to throw that in there and see how that person behind the bar is going to react to it.
Yeah.
And that style blew up. I mean,
Yeah. Can you still make it? Is that
the amber? Yeah. Well, I created a recipe for it.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
And there's
Because you couldn't replicate the
Yeah,
the
exactly.
thing. Yeah, you can't
So I
shut
just
your
thought-
stuff down
Yeah.
on purpose. Yeah.
and run it for 2-3 hours or however long it
Yeah.
was, because it got to a point where it's like, okay, I'm throwing the notes out. I don't even, I'm just
Yeah.
so frustrated trying to.
That was a
figure this out.
14-hour brew day.
Yeah,
Which normally takes how long?
I can get it. One batch I can get done at about 10 hours, cleaned up and everything.
Gotcha. So this was significant.
Sometimes it'll take about 12 hours if I'm doing an extended cleaning and stuff.
Okay. Gotcha. And that beer was fantastic, by the way. That
Thanks.
Imperial Red. That was the first one, or the Imperial
Imperial
Amber.
Amber, yeah.
You don't see that. You don't see
Right.
Imperial Amber. So like you said, yeah.
Yeah.
The
So it
black
just
IPAs
creates.
too.
Yeah. So I'm creating something. Maybe it'll catch on. Maybe it won't. I have a lot of guests that just really enjoy that beer.
Yeah.
And there's also out there the demand for these high gravity beers. People really
Yeah.
like to drink the high gravity beers.
Yep.
I don't. It's
Yeah.
not my style.
What's your style? What do you like?
Mine would be this, like our stout, which is low in alcohol.
Okay.
So I can sit there. Like last night, I drank 3 of them.
Okay.
So I can put 3 of those down in an hour and a half, and not walk out of here buzzed. Same thing with the pale ales. The pale ales are not. They're American pale ales. They're not overly hopped. I'm not a big hop head like some people.
Okay. Gotcha.
And so a lot of people, some people have criticized that as, oh, that's, a Budweiser, Coors,
Yeah.
which is fine. You have to have thick skin to be in this industry. But
You like what you like, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's, yeah.
the first time I had like Dale's Pale Ale, I open up that can, I drink it, I'm like, whoa. Because I'm used to the Northwest beers being
yeah.
kind of like that.
Okay.
And so when I had that, I'm like, wow, that's a different twist on a Pale Ale. That's more of an IPA to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's,
They're fantastic. Your
Oh,
beers-
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
The first time I came here, actually, I came here on your opening day.
oh, did you?
Yeah, kind of by an accident too,
Okay.
because I didn't even realize you guys were opening up. My father-in-law and I were going to go to McFate.
Okay.
Because I used to live down this way, so we loved Fate. Well, I still call it Fate.
Fate,
I'm
yeah.
getting used to McFate, yeah. But we were going to head down there. So for some reason, I was on Instagram and I saw your guys' thing come up,
Mm-hmm.
like as a suggested, profile. I'm like, dude, this new place is open up. Like, let's go check it out. My father-in-law said it was one of the top 5 hangovers he's ever had. He's like, but let's go, let's check it out. So we came in and we each got one of these.
Yeah.
And by the way, the flight holders are awesome. Like, these are actually cuts of wood. Right?
Mesquite wood, yeah. It's a neighbor of ours that cut down a tree, and another neighbor of mine, which helped us out with a lot of the construction, did the signs for us, the blade sign out in front.
Yeah.
So he came up to me one day, he says, hey, got a great idea for flight trays, because we had ordered flight boards, but the glasses wouldn't fit in the flight boards. And we're like kind of scrambling last minute. And he says, what do you think of this you found on Pinterest?
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's awesome, but you got to get your man skirt on for that.
Right.
So, but it's like, that's great. So he says, got these logs. I cut them up with the chainsaw, and then he took them down to his wood shop class and planed them down, drilled the holes, and did those for us. And yeah, so it's mesquite wood. So we got the Mesquite River mesquite wood.
Nice. Yeah, I love it. So I had drank 2 of these because he got a flight. He took a sip of one. He's like, I can't do this. I've never seen him do that.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I've been with my wife for 10 years almost, 8 years. And I've never seen him like turn down beers, even if he wasn't feeling it. He's like, I can't do it. So I had to drink 2 of these.
Oh,
and
nice.
They were all so good. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
But I loved. Was this the stout you guys started off with?
Yes,
the Bubblin Crude.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's been a phenomenal seller.
It's so good.
Thanks.
That's what stood out. Normally for me, I do like IPAs, I like pale ales, but that was the one that stood out for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so good. And what I like too about when I came in, you guys had all like family. Like I think I was talking to the girl that was serving us, and she came. Might have been your daughter from California.
My youngest.
Yeah,
Sasha.
So she was kind of explaining. I'm like, this is awesome because it was pretty busy. And she's like, yeah, this is all family coming out to help out my dad and his buddy who's opened this place up. So instantly, it kind of personified the craft brew scene, right? Just the family,
community.
Yeah, exactly.
Family and community.
Yep.
We've been so blessed with so many people, like my neighbor Steve, helping out with the construction and not asking anything from us. The picnic table back there, we spent hours in my backyard putting that thing together and sanding it down. I mean, just nothing other. I mean, yeah, here's some beer and stuff. I mean, just an awesome guy. And having that, community, we're some people in our neighborhood are going, God, you guys are so lucky. You live on the best block. You guys sit out front. You're drinking, smoking, and people come up and you hang out together and stuff. And that's what we do. I have like a patio that I set up in the front of my house because I just want to be part of the community, welcoming and interacting with people and stuff. And it's a really neat feeling. I mean, I miss it because I'm here so much, but I'm getting it here and meeting people and getting their stories and sharing my story with them. It's connecting with that community is so awesome.
Yeah.
And also Steve, the guy that made these, his brother owns a brewery in Tracy, California.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, and it's such a bizarre world. You got a neighbor that his brother owns a brewery.
Yeah.
And here we have a brewery and stuff. We're all kind of connected.
And this was the guy who made the
flight trays.
Flight
Yeah.
trays.
And the sign in the back.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the blade sign that you
I like
see
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now, what is the Barley Implant? So that's you guys are.
Let him explain
Yeah.
that. He came up with. Craig comes up with. He came up with the name of the brewery, Mesquite River. That
Okay.
was his. Like so many breweries or people starting breweries, I'm sure everyone has a huge long list of names and stuff, and we were wanting something that would represent the region.
Okay.
But not saying well, it's specific to a town or a spot or a street or something like that, but something more regional type of
Landscape, like
landscape
kind of,
or something.
yeah.
And
Well, so I did a spreadsheet with about 35 names. We were kind of gearing toward the muscle car theme. That's kind of where the lettering from the MRB.
That's what I think about.
Font,
Yeah.
So one day so my neighbor Carl is my neighbor on my right, and then neighbor on my left has this huge mesquite tree with a little kind of creek thing through it. Maybe that's where that came from, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I just came up with it, called Carl, and he goes, "That's it." So okay, good. I
Yeah,
get rid of the
just-
spreadsheet. And delete
That
it.
was your number one. Was that your number one pick?
once he called me up and said, "Oh hell yeah, let's get home. Let's do some Google searching on this
Yeah.
name and everything, and see if there's even a Mesquite River. If there's anything named Mesquite River, let's get this thing nailed down, because I
Yeah.
think it's really solid. It flows nicely.
Couldn't find anything.
So now do the Barley Implant. So
yeah,
this was,
barley.
I think, wasn't this on like a brew day? You came up with that, where
Oh, maybe,
sitting out in
yeah.
the garage brewing, and then you
Yeah.
just
So the Barley Implant is a play on other implants. So it's your basically it's your beer gut. right?
Oh, okay.
So you get your Barley Implant 1 pint at a time.
yes.
Nice. I
And-
thought this was like some sort of equipment. I've been looking around for like this, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
No,
no,
we're in North Scottsdale
Yeah.
here, so there's a lot of plastic silicone up here. So ours is all natural.
It's
though.
natural,
is.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all natural.
Yeah. And it's a little more lowbrow. I mean, it's a little more.
Definitely.
Yeah. And it's more
Well,
enjoyable to
It's a
you know,
story, yeah,
it's more enjoyable to get that implant than the other implants.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
It's
It's a slow
definitely
process, but
Yeah.
it's natural.
Yep.
Yeah. Like you
And we
said.
could have contests, Barley Implant contests.
Ah man, yeah, you could. I've seen some impressive implants in that avenue, both avenues. Anyways, I think we're getting off track.
yeah.
There was you guys were telling me one of the beers I drank was it's a collaboration, but it's not a collaboration, right? You tell me about that a little bit. The 1580. Is that what
Yeah,
it is?
so there's a local radio station, independently owned. The owner wanted to have an independently owned radio station separate from Wall Street. Anybody telling them what to do.
Okay.
So he started the sports radio station. Rock from the Rock and Manouche show afternoon drive time show came in here one evening, and we got talking, and he's really dynamic individual. And so he talked to me about, would you be willing to do a beer for our radio station, and we'll get your product out to bars and stuff. We'll do a tap panel. And I said, wow, that's kind of an awesome experience. So especially being so young and everything, that he's coming into me, not going to somebody that's more established. And he's looking at us like, we're new, you're new, and we can grow together.
Yeah.
And we're independent. And I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. So we got together, and so we're hammering out. And then we eventually trying to decide, I'm like, hey, if you're going to do this, you need to do an IPA. IPAs are huge. I think that goes, oh, no, they not in these sports bars, blah, blah. I says, yeah, but if I go to a sports bar, I'm going to want to have a craft beer that's most likely an IPA or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, and I don't think that'll fly. I said, well, let's do this. He says, let's get your team in here from the station, and we'll set out 4 samples of different beers. We'll have them all sampled. We'll score it and see which scores the highest. So the one that scored the highest was our Hefeweizen. And so that's what we're going to do for our first beer with them. It is the Hefeweizen. So it's going to be the Fanatic 1580. That's their AM side, and then they have an FM side, the 99.3.
Okay.
So what we're going to do in the fall, we'll do a IPA for the FM side, and then we'll get that out to some of these sports bars, restaurants, and things, where I most likely would never be able to get my product into there. And they're working with these establishments to do advertisement on their show and stuff. So there's kind of an all work around together.
Yeah.
Kind of back to that kind of community thing
Yeah.
of working on handshakes, and not let's get the lawyers involved in big contracts and stuff like
Yeah.
that. It's grassroots stuff.
And that's that Arizona, like you were. I think I don't know if we talked about before we started recording, but just that keeping things local,
Yeah.
right? And that's taken to another level too. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, coming from Oregon, this is like back in the 70s. Oregon established a thing made in Oregon.
Okay.
Oregonians take great pride in their products. So Pendleton Clothing, Jensen Swimwear, Nike, and then the craft beer and all that. If you get stuff from Oregon, they put made in Oregon, not made in the USA.
Oh,
made in
really?
Oregon. Oh, yeah. You go into
Interesting.
the airports, okay, the huge made in Oregon shops, and they display their products that are made in Oregon in these made in Oregon shops.
Yeah.
Here in Arizona, we're starting to get that local first. You have the Crescent Crown that's drink local.
Yeah.
And pushing all these things. You've seen the wine industry and the spirit industry growing in this state. And that's what we need to create this more diverse atmosphere here, making it more attracted attractable to other people coming from out of this
Yeah.
area into here, instead of saying, oh, it's just a place that's got sunshine.
Or it's too hot, you know.
Well, yeah, you know, let's go from air conditioning pool to pool, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
Yeah.
doable.
Yep.
But from the standpoint, that's where it's really, you're seeing some phenomenal food establishments putting out great food, tap kitchens, all across the board. I've seen this town just change so dramatically in the last, 10 years.
Yeah.
Really getting into some diversity that you just didn't have before in this area. And I think that's the craft beer is growing because of that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at Flagstaff. I mean, they've had it for quite some time.
Right.
Why Lake Havasu? Why do they have? They at one point I guess had more breweries per capita than any city in the nation.
Really?
Because it's so small, and I think they
Yeah.
had 4 or 5 at one point.
Oh,
A couple
okay,
of them
so
went
what
out.
you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
But it's just Phoenix just is a huge market.
Yeah.
And growing.
It is.
And what is it growing with? People from other areas, and I think they want to come in. They want to be able to have the place that they can go and enjoy a craft beer and a nice meal, whatever it may be, or just a sit-down place,
Right.
where they can just converse with that neighborhood place. And I hear, like I say, all these tap houses that are, you got what they call uptown now, between Camelback to, well, what would that be?
Oh yeah, like where like Huss is, the new
Up
Huss
to-
area.
Yeah, so from like Huss going all the way to North Mountain,
Oh,
and then
gotcha.
from like maybe Central or 7th Avenue all the way up to the 51.
Oh, I
Kind
see
of that
what you-
whole corridor
yeah.
in there is just booming, and
Yep.
it's transforming. Same thing down with where Helton and Wrenhouse and Helio.
Yeah.
That whole area is gentrifying. It just, you see the transformation, and it's great. It's a great
Yeah.
thing to see in the city.
Yeah, I agree. It's like, because I moved out here about 10 years ago, and just that identity. Because are you from here?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Originally
Yeah.
Minnesota, but
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. My wife's from Minnesota. Her whole family, basically Fargo, North
yeah.
Dakota area.
This
yeah.
is North Duluth.
Okay.
I have relatives near Fargo, Detroit Lakes.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. My wife was from Perham, a little small town right outside Detroit Lakes. So, but everybody's from somewhere else. But there's been just such a, I mean, you got like State 48 apparel. You've got everybody's is really taking pride in this local thing. A lot of breweries are either regional, like you guys are going with a regional like landscape plant, right? Or you've got Scottsdale Beer Company. Or everything is, it's really, I think it's really putting Arizona on the map. You
Yeah.
know, you've got Oregon, Colorado, California. Those are like the beer meccas,
Yeah.
right? But I feel like Arizona is just getting up there
yeah,
quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, since working here, just you say the word Asheville, and it's like that place has exploded. People are always talking about Asheville, North Carolina,
Yeah.
and how it has exploded. And I think we're going to be moving in that direction here and seeing that boom happen.
Yeah.
I mean, it's people call it a transient town, but I've seen over the
Not so much anymore.
yeah, there are a
Used
lot
to
of
be.
people who have realized,
Okay. Yeah.
no, I enjoy just staying here.
Yeah.
So they get rid of their first home, second home, whatever, up, in the Midwest or
Yeah.
Northeast or something like that, and then they just stay year round here.
Right.
And that's kind of a nice thing to see.
Yeah. Well, Fred, coming from Minnesota, like, would you rather deal with Duluth in the winter or
Oh, I love it
Arizona
here.
in the summer?
Smartest move.
Yeah.
And I was in high school when we moved here.
Yeah.
Smartest move we ever made.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Minnesota is great. Like, I thought it was cold in Ohio. My father-in-law was like, "Oh yeah, I've experienced like negative 78." I'm like, "What? Like how? Like, is that even possible?" Like, yeah.
mosquitoes. And
Yeah, exactly. So no, I love it here, and you guys are really representing the beer scene too. This is a good. I like. You guys are one of the closest breweries to where I live. I live up like the 17 and like Joe Max.
Oh, okay.
So I love that you guys are close like this, and you guys have events too. You guys have music.
Yes.
Right? You guys
Yeah.
do music quite
Yeah.
often.
Yeah, we do every Monday. We do open mic.
Okay.
So artists come in and perform. Really, it was never our intention starting out that we would do music, but a friend of mine, he's a dentist, and he came in to me one day and says, "Hey, Carl, what do you think of me coming down, my son and I coming down and playing at your establishment?" I'm like, sure, why not? You
Yeah.
know, see how it works out. So they came and played, and I'm like, wow, it adds such a different dynamic. You know, because we have music on, get compliments all the time about our music stuff that we put on. But when you have that live music and the interaction from the musician and the guest, it creates a different dynamic. And then it's really with the open mic, and that has brought in so many different artists. Like we had Carvin Jones in here, which is
I've heard that
huge
name before.
He's a
Yeah.
huge artist in town.
It's a blues, old blues guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, nice. Yeah.
So this coming Friday, we're having Hans Olsen, who is inducted into the Arizona Blues Hall of Fame.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, so we're getting
Nice, man.
some good name people, you know, coming in here, and it's an awesome experience to have these artists come in here, because I hate to call myself an artist. I just
You are that.
I
Like
know
when
I'm
you say you
very
go off
humble and
script
stuff.
with the, yeah.
But I'm out there doing my thing. They have their gift, because I can't do what they do, and I'd love to be able to play a guitar or, you know, be able to sing like they do. But to have them come in and do their craft, their trade, and, you know, dealing with just local people. You know, it's nice.
And I'm sure that they would love to be able to make a stout like that too.
Well,
You know?
yeah.
So there's that. It's that artist. I don't want to say envy, but in a way, right? You envy like what they're doing. Man, that's
I do.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But then they're also drinking this, saying, "Man, I wish if I could make this."
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know. So
And we do the same thing with the food. We don't do food here. We don't have a kitchen here.
okay.
But we work with a local restaurant just down the way.
Yeah. What is that hanger?
The hanger.
The
Yeah.
hanger.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have them set up in our point of sale system. So it's like it's a kitchen, it's just over there.
Oh, nice.
And same
Kitchen
thing
you guys
with-
don't have to clean.
Right.
Exactly.
Or have to pay for anything. So we
Yeah.
got their menu here, so people order from us. We
So-
call it down, they run it down.
So we can focus on the beer, and they can
Yeah.
focus on the food, and then same thing like Carl was just mentioning with the artists
Yeah.
or the musicians. They can you have the best of all the worlds kind of meeting up in place.
Right. Yeah. Everybody's supporting each other.
Yeah.
It's just
And we encourage people to also, if they don't want to
Artists,
get
right.
something from the hangar, they can bring in their food from some other establishment
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
Okay.
And we'll
And
clean
say,
up
get
after.
out of here.
Yeah.
That food.
Yeah, and then our
pick them out.
yeah, as far as like when we first opened up, our walls were very bare, and so I had different people come in that have background in art. So I said, yeah, bring your stuff in. We'll hang it on the wall, and
Yeah.
It's all
yeah,
local. I mean, these
we'll
guys are-
sell it for you.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's really awesome. There's some really good artwork here too.
Yeah.
And I know this is not. This is.
No, this
This is great. So this is Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, right? Is that who?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you guys are going to be throwing beer bottles at us, at least make sure they're full.
full. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah.
and craft.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. As I was reading that, that's what I was expecting. But I'm like, okay, full.
Yeah.
That'll work too. But no, you guys got a great place here.
Thanks.
Like, yeah. This is awesome. How do people find you guys? Are on Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. MesquiteRiverBrewing.com. What's the website?
MesquiteRiverBrewing.com.
Okay.
And we just released an app. So
Oh, really?
You can download the app from
Nice.
iTunes or the Play Store.
Okay.
And from that, we have a calendar that you can look at on there. We have like a customer loyalty thing where you can
Earn
enter in your-
points.
Oh,
earn
nice.
points.
Okay.
Yeah, point
You
system.
get-
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll have some programs and things that you can earn points and
Yeah.
get some free beer, or not free beer, but penny beer or
Okay.
discounts on growlers and those kinds of
Yeah.
things.
Nice.
So that's just released. What else?
Come in, drink the beer,
Come
say
in,
hi.
drink the beer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Happy hour Monday through Friday, 4 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Awesome. Guys, thanks.
Thank you.
This has
Yeah.
been great. Yeah. So you guys got to come here. I definitely recommend the Bubblin Crude, but all of the other ones that I've drank, which are all of them, I think, right?
Yes.
At least tasted them.
Yeah.
All fantastic. So
Thanks.
come check
you.
this place out. Thanks, dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for listening to another episode. If you guys get a chance, get down to Mesquite River and try those beers. Try that Bubblin Crude beer. That's fantastic. So, as usual, help me spread the word. My goal is to get Arizona beer across the country on the map. So, tell a friend, tell somebody you think might like this. Rating, review, iTunes helps to get us, get us up the charts there. But yeah. Also, check out the website too. I like to put up pictures and do a little article. I'm going to have some great guest writers coming on for some of the episodes for the little article that I put in there. This one, not much of an article, and there's only one picture. So Yeah, not a good start, but go back to the older episodes, check them out if you haven't gone to the website, TapThatAZ.com. But in the meantime, hang out. There'll be another episode coming out 1 week from today. Every Monday, put out a new episode. So have a great week, and always remember, stay awesome.